Martin. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Great. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you.
You're going to be one of the keynote speakers at the DCS this year. So I was wondering if you could give everyone listening a brief overview of you and your career.
Yes, sure. So my career has been largely in logistics and shipping. So I worked for a number of years with a number of different companies, particularly in the forwarding sector, so the likes of DHL and DB Schenker. I then had left that sector, and I worked as a journalist initially, writing for Containerization International, which was a sister magazine to Lloyd's List. And then after that, I then moved to Drewry back in 2011, so almost 10 years ago. There I developed Drewry's freight rate benchmarking services, which is something I'll be talking about at the event, and other supply chain related services. And then in 2013, I became a board director and took responsibility for the publishing interests of Drewry and its research products. And since then, I have focused my sort of contribution in terms of research around the container shipping market and freight rate benchmarking, and also the port sector. But also there's a number of niche areas that I work in and develop. So particularly around, say, the container equipment sector, which is the market for empty container boxes, and then the reefer shipping market and the multi-purpose shipping markets, which relates to break bulk and heavy lift shipping and other niche areas like that. And I've been doing that really since then, and really enjoy it.
It seems like you get far around in the industry.
Yes, we get a long way around the industry, yeah. But I think that's the great benefit of working in a consultancy, because you can have a much higher level view of what's happening around the sector and of course globally, and we're able to cover all those different segments.
With the long career you've had in the shipping universe, what would you say has been the biggest lesson you've learned that you would like to have known when you actually started your career?
Well, I think that I've definitely much preferred working in a consultancy research capacity, and I'm really pleased that I made the break, which is quite a difficult break to make actually for the mainstream industry. Initially to go in as a writer, and then as an analyst, and then consultant, and I think that's quite a difficult change to make. But I'm very glad I made it, and I really enjoy it, and I very much enjoy working for Drewry. We're celebrating our 50th anniversary this year. We've been around a long time. We're an independent consultancy, very well established, very good reputation in the market, and I'm very pleased to be part of that success.
You have tried working in a lot of different capacities, having different roles. What would you say has been your most memorable moment in your career?
Well, as I said, I think the most memorable really is the change that I made from working in the forwarding industry to becoming an analyst and consultant. And I think that was a big change for me and very significant. And I think that that's certainly a very memorable moment.
I get that. And as we mentioned earlier, you're going to be one of the keynote speakers at the DCS this year. You're going to be talking about COVID-19 impacts for container shipping. Can you give everyone here a bit of a sneak peek of what you're going to be talking about?
Yes, so actually the presentation will be in two parts really. One will be looking at the outlook for the container shipping market, and obviously COVID-19 dominates that. And the other part will be talking about Drewry's Forwarder Benchmarking Club, which is a service that we launched a year or so ago and is very relevant to the audience. So in terms of the outlook for the container shipping market, COVID-19 dominates that. And it's created huge uncertainty in terms of how the trade will develop. So we have every quarter we do a new forecast, so we're providing our latest outlook for that. And there are a number of different scenarios in terms of how the global economy could develop, depending on really what happens to the COVID-19 outbreak. And so we'll be talking to those, and also then to how shipping lines will be managing capacity. And as we know, over recent months, that's been quite tightly managed. That's created a number of space issues, also particularly around container equipment availability as well. And that's had implications for pricing. And so we're providing our outlook and forecast for trade capacity and freight rates in this presentation. I think that will be very topical for many people. And I think then the other part will be to talk a bit about this forwarder benchmarking club that we launched a year or so ago, where we built up membership to over 70 members now that handle movements over like 4,000 port pair combinations, and they move collectively over 10 million TEU of volume, so a big sample size on the market. And we think that provides forwarders a great benefit in terms of being able to buy capacity better by understanding how their rates compares with the market, also to understand how better to price so that they can understand the differential between their buy rates and the market rates, and also to sell better so they can use this as a tool to demonstrate how competitive their rates are.
And why are you excited to talk about exactly this topic at DCS?
Well, I think what's happening in the market is really interesting, and I think it's hugely uncertain. But I think there are a number of things that we can deduce from what's happening, and we can make some pretty good forecasts for how the trade may develop and what that means then for different stakeholders, and particularly for the price at which forwarders and shippers will need to pay to move cargo with the shipping lines. So I think that's pretty exciting at the moment. And I think this forwarder benchmarking club is a great service which is completely free of charge to anyone who joins the service now, and remains free of charge for life. And we think that's a great benefit to the industry.
So if we boil it down, what would you then say that, why should people attend your session? What can they learn from you? Well,
I think the main things they can learn is how the market is likely to develop over the next few years, and what does that mean for them? And in particular then, what does it mean for the price that they may need to pay to move cargo? There's a lot of uncertainty in the market, and increasingly companies are looking for some level of certainty through the forecasts that different analysts provide. We've been doing this for 50 years, so we think we know what we're doing. I think forwarders who are interested in understanding how they can better benchmark their rates and how they can use that information, I think it would be very interesting for them too.
We're for sure looking forward to hearing what your answers are going to be at the DCS. Thank you very much for having the time to talk to us today.
Great, thank you very much, Lot. Bye-bye.
In between your sessions, you can enjoy some awesome keynotes and workshops to which you can actually bookmark on your schedule in advance. And the event is open for 24 hours to accommodate everyone all over the world.